Mid-America Furniture's new location, 7546 North Milwaukee Avenue in Chicago. Mid-America Furniture, special prices for the holidays. Now specials on sofas, sleepers, and Ashley mattresses. New collection on dining tables and bedrooms starting at $6.99. Mid-America Furniture, وينا هيورا عطوراي زودا من إسري خمسة شنة. هنعدغ زيت Signature by Ashley, Millennium, Benchcraft, Sierra Sleep, Coaster, Jackson, Catnapper, Global Furniture, USA, Pulaski. Itlu financing available. Line of furniture got 50% off. هرهادغ زتيخنا Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6 وSunday من 5 ل5. Ask for Mr. G for an extra 5% off. Mid-America Furniture, 773-761-2106.
For the people who are here, is there a way to report abuse? So if we're noticing that maybe a doctor is overprescribing or something that as a family member we want to report, is there a way to report that abuse?
Yeah. So obviously narcotics are controlled substances, and so the federal government does strictly, control their use. And if you do take a prescription drug and then you're giving it to someone else, that legally is referred to as diversion. The Federal Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, is the federal agency that manages and controls the distribution of narcotics. So if there is an individual, whether they're a physician or a non-physician, that is distributing the drugs, or if you feel like the physician is inappropriately prescribing, and as I said, the medical community was partly responsible for this epidemic. There were doctors in different communities everywhere that would essentially run prescription mills. They would have patients coming into their clinic, and they would, the patients would pay out of pocket or what have you, because they don't want their insurance to know, and they would get a prescription for pain medications. They'd get the medication. Sometimes the medication was for themselves. Sometimes they take some of that medication and divert it and sell it on the street. And this was happening. In the pharmaceutical industry was also part of the problem. And frankly, there were fines and penalties for some of the pharmaceuticals, and some are in lawsuits currently. But you had pharmacies in the middle of nowhere sometimes getting enough prescription drugs for a town of like 1 million people or something in a place in the middle of nowhere. So there were bad actors on the medical side. There were. And so if you see that, you certainly can bring it to the federal authorities. You can go onto the website. There's a hotline number to call. I don't know off the top of my head. And you can call and you can report someone, and they'll send the FBI out and they'll start doing an investigation.
Okay, regarding that website that every state, especially our state, Illinois, has for drug monitoring, Jeffrey led me to say something, and that also will help him and others. At the very beginning, when he was brought to my office by his father, so he was not that much motivated. His father brought him. And as Ramsin said, these cases maybe will not work that much, but he said he wants to try to take some Suboxone in order to hit that drug problem. But shortly after, I saw on one of those websites that he comes and gets Suboxone from me and goes from another doctor and gets pain medication. So when he came, we talked, and in that very short period of time while he was in the session, he agreed and he said that he wants really to get out of this habit. So while he was there, we called the pharmacy, we canceled all narcotics, we called the other doctor and let him know of the problems, and he said we'll not get, and as he said, the very, very, very important person in his sobriety is his mother. So we called his mother, and his mother agreed to be in charge of giving his medications, and he was sober for a while. So, thank you. So we should again commend him, and that he decided to take a step on his own, not that his family brought him. In that session, he decided to do it himself. So that website also was helpful for that process. Thank you.
Thank you. We have a question back here. Thank you.
If we suspect that a friend or a family member is struggling with addiction, how do you guys suggest we start that conversation with them?
I think Robson, yeah.
That's a great question, because it's a hard conversation to have. And I mean, the quickest answer I can give you is that there's no good way to start it that's not going to be awkward and hard and painful. Best thing to do is you can set the stage as best you can, have it be somewhere where there's a little bit of privacy, somewhere maybe that you and your friend have been comfortable, whether it's at their home, at a coffee shop, whatever. Again, privacy is a huge part of this too. But at the end of the day, it's just being direct and saying, I'm very concerned. And you can say that I think that this is going on or that's going on, but if you can be specific about what your concerns are, that's a huge part. I'm concerned because, you haven't been interacting with me the way we used to, or you seem distracted all the time, or whatever the concerns you have, be as direct as possible with it. And if you feel like there's denial, defiance, or any kind of saying, well, no, that's not the case, there are other friends too, right? It's a friend network. Have the other friends seen it too? At some point, it turns into almost like a mini non-professional led intervention, because you've got loved ones and people who know this person and know that there's been a change, saying, we know there's a change, even though this person is saying, no, there isn't. And at some point, you may have to start drawing the boundaries of saying, look, I know something's going on, and if you're going to be this way, I can't really be part of this. I can't enable this continued behavior. I love you, I'm here for you, but I can't be here during this, if that's where it has to go. Again, as we've talked, that's not the first step, that's way down the line, but it goes back to keeping yourself safe too.
Especially want to commend the gentleman in the middle who I believe still running a marathon, but he's really fast so far in his journey, so congratulations.
Thank you.
I have a question about what is the next step. Everybody here, I'm so happy that everyone is here today, but they're going to go out, remember 10% of this lecture. So what is really the next step? I know you mentioned that there are some materials here, some places that they can go, but I would like to know, this is a lifelong journey for some people, and they already fell. So what is the next step for the family that's going to help? Is it a meeting like this every week? Is the church wanting to be involved, have a space where people can come and talk and break down these barriers of, we're Assyrian, shameful, can't do this. What is that next step that is going to be logical and bring more young people here? I'm sure there's a lot more people than that are here today. So.
Anybody?
It is very important for the families to continue talking to their children. We need to stop with the, it's shameful, or it's eba, we can't talk about it. No, if you notice that your kids are showing any of the signs that it was discussed, sit them down, have them sit down, talk to them in a way where it's not, you're not angry at them. Just have a conversation, an honest conversation. Let your kids know what is it that's going on, what do we need to help you with. We're here for you no matter what. We love you. Just don't be judging them and getting angry at them. Just have an open, honest conversation with them to be able to continue that discussion and know what your kids are doing. And if they're, either if they're depressed about something, if they have anxiety or anything like that, it's important to just keep that conversation open with them and just be honest. And we need to stop with the, it's eba. We need to move on from that.
Yeah.
Did you want to say something?
there's nothing shameful about it. Whoever's had surgery here has had morphine, and you know, I'm just saying, never be shameful. That's it.
Thank you.
I think one of the, you mentioned a couple things, and two things about this event that's going on right now really get me excited about where this can lead. One is, we've got clergy in the front. We have a commitment made by our church, not just to be here and say, hey, this is great, let's put it on the Facebook page. They showed up. They're here. On top of that, they canceled the youth events at the churches and said, come here. So that tells me that our church has taken an active stance. If there is an issue, if there is a concern, even if you don't have facts, you have a concern, there are our spiritual fathers. We can go to them. We can go to them for support, and they know how to work with us. If they don't have the answers, they know the resources, not just the ones on the paper. They know us as well. They can pull in the resources. So that's one thing. The other thing, yeah, there you go. Thank you. I should have called them out by name. I'm going to hear about it on Sunday, I'm sure. But the other thing that last thing I want to say is, past the priests, and again, I'm sure there's some over there too, and I apologize because I'm singling you out, but I see a whole bunch of youth members here. I see a whole bunch of our younger generations here. Yeah, you can take a bow too, that's fine. I see a whole bunch of our younger generation, and we talk about how important it is for the family to be involved and the family to get there, and yet what we also know is that a lot of times, for teenagers and young adults, hearing from the parents, it's like you turn deaf. Like once you turn a certain age, parents don't know anything anymore until you get out of college and need their money in-house. But it's hard sometimes to hear from parents. We've got a number of our youth sitting here today, and by your presence, I'm assuming and expecting, I'm not going to check on you, but I'm expecting that this is their commitment too. If they see this with their friends, they will speak up. They will get involved. If they see concerns, they know it's no longer, I have to avoid this, or it's life and death. I mean, that's it. It's life and death. So do we need to do more panels like this? Sure, we do. I don't think doing them weekly is the key. You're not, it's oversaturation with information, but now it's time to take this and go out and actually put it in practice and just get involved.
Thanks. I just want to add one more thing with, not to pick on the youth. You guys are going to be doing whatever you do, friends, family, hanging out. But the parents, you need to get involved with your kids. Stop with my boy's a good boy, my daughter goes to church, she would never do those things. I take these kids home, and without the beard, they didn't know that I was Assyrian, and I can hear them saying, oh, they just brought me home, I wasn't doing anything, I wasn't in the stolen car, those weren't my things that are surprising, because after they said all that in Assyrian, I responded and said, he's lying. So that was always fun. But you've got to get involved, and you kids aren't going to like it, but sorry, get on their Facebook, get on their Instagram, get on all that stuff. You young guys, you kids, you have everything you need. You have family, church, Christianity, we're all there for you. I get it, it's hard to slip up and it's hard to stay straight, and sometimes you slip up and you do some things, but you parents really need to be on them. Go in their room, and if you see any of those things that we saw pictures of, hey, that's time to talk to them about it. Because better you talk to them than I do. Because when I'm talking to them, that's after they get stopped by us. All the officers in the back there can talk to you guys about some of the times that they've had instances with Assyrians. You don't want to get the lecture from us. Rather you get it from your parents, talk to them, come see the doctor, come see the social worker. That's better than once it gets to I see you on the street. Okay?
Thank you. We have a question in here.
Is addiction genetic? Like, does it pass on through generations by genetics, or is it just something you, like, I don't know how to phrase it. Develop. Like, is it something you obtain from your parents, or does it just like happen?
Very good question.
just like any other illness that we know, is multifactorial. Genetic has a very important role in this one, but genes need an environment to express themselves. Not everyone who inherits the gene will show the disease, okay? There should be like an environment, a situation, a trigger that gene will start expressing itself, and then disease will start. So with today's knowledge, yes, we say that most of this illness is by gene. As you heard from many stories, and I mentioned, if a person has a brother, a sister, a cousin that has a drug abuse, a family history of anyone in a distant family is more at risk of drug abuse than others.
Thank you. We have Dr. Sandra has a question.
Dr. Elmer and Ramson, I know you guys mentioned Narcan, but if you guys could, please elaborate. What is it? How does it work? And if I am an active opioid user or know someone who is an active opioid user, how important is it that I have it and how do I obtain it?
Yeah. So Narcan is a drug that is essentially an antagonist to the morphine, and so it's used to essentially bring someone very quickly out of the acute toxicity of the narcotic use. It is absolutely life-saving, and it's an incredibly dramatic effect. But it is a very short-lived drug. It gets metabolized within the body very quickly. And so as Ramson was suggesting, you really do need to, after you give the drug, and the drug now is available by anyone. They can go to a pharmacy and get it without a prescription. You can get the drug. You have to learn how to, there are a couple different formulations, but the cheapest and most available would be getting it in a bottle and then obviously learning how to draw it up in a syringe and then giving it, frankly, it's just a shot into the muscle. And at that point, if the person is out of it and on the street, I don't care if you cleaned the skin. I don't care if you stick the needle through the pair of jeans. Just get the drug in the person. If you're seeing them, if you know that they're a drug addict and you know they're overdosed, and it's a pretty dramatic thing. It's hard to sort of miss when you see it. If you do have a family member that you know is in the disease and stuck and not necessarily getting the help, it does really behoove you to learn how to use Narcan. And frankly, you can learn at the pharmacy. You can go make an appointment with your primary care doctor. There are plenty of places to go to learn how to get the drug, feel comfortable with it, how to learn to give it. But as Ramson was saying, you do only have maybe half an hour to get that patient from the street or the home where they've overdosed to once they wake up, and let me come back to that. Once they wake up, you have to get them into an ambulance or in a car and get them to the hospital because they absolutely need to be monitored. They very well might need to be in an ICU and get the Narcan given to them intravenously. If you're learning this and about to do it for the first time, let me just tell you, it is going to scare the hell out of you when the first time you do it, because the person is going to go from a deep, deep coma, deep, deep sleep, to violently waking up and screaming, "What the hell did you do? I was just in the best high of my life." It will be a dramatic, it'll almost look like demonic. You'll be like, what is going on? You have saved their life. You grab them, you hold them, you hug them, you calm them down, and then you get them to the hospital. Yeah.
Thank you. You have a question?
No, actually, elaboration of discussion. Thank you for the panel. Thank you for the spiritual leaders who are here with us. This shows the interaction of the community for the best of our kids and our future people. I'm Dr. Martin Bazi. I do pediatric emergency medicine at Atour General Hospital. I usually, unfortunately, see these patients when they are in the hospital down. Let me just mention something here about these narcotics. What do they do to the body? They will suppress the breathing system. And that's the main cause of the death. Question was about Narcan. Narcan, the medicine which is the antidote for these medications. You can give it at home. If you're aware of it, you know how to use it, it's life-saving. One dose is not enough. You give the first dose, call 911, period. I have patients coming to the ER, pediatric ER, 15, 16 years old, coming from school, altered mental status, problem with the breathing, we give 2 or 3 doses, and we save them. Fortunately, during the day, everybody can notice this, at home, at the school, wherever. At night, nobody will be aware of this, and that's why we'll have all these sudden deaths at night. This is one. As a physician, taking care of kids, prevention is the best treatment than long-term treatment, lifelong treatment. So prevention of this problem is very important. If you are aware of any of your siblings, cousins, friends, even if they are Assyrians, you got to report it. Talk to your parents, talk to their parents, talk to whoever you trust, because out of your love, you want that kid to avoid this and prevent this. Please, please, I'm talking to young kids here, young generation. Your parents came here for whatever reason. It's a trail of tears to get here. They are working day and night, 2 shifts, maybe 3 shifts, to do the best for you, provide the best for you. Let them be proud of you in the community here in Chicago, in the United States, and for all their relatives all over in Iraq, in the Middle East, in Australia, and wherever they live, that our kids are doing well here in the United States, and so that as a community we'll be proud that we are Assyrians. Although we are in this country, we will be affected positively and negatively, but do your best. Parents show love to your kids since they are young. Give them that hug that you love them, you want the best for them, and you are there for them, so that they will trust you first before they trust whoever will give them that drug one day. Thank you again.
Hey, I just want to add one thing with the Narcan. It's something you guys should understand. When they use that Narcan, we've been there on the streets. People are overdosing left and right. Once that's administered, they are violent, very violent, because again, they're in the best high of their life, and like that, they're out, they become violent. So 911 gets called, paramedics show up, we show up, they get administered the Narcan, and they do get violent. We've had to handle that a lot. The other thing about Narcan is you don't know that your loved one might need it if we keep denying my loved one is not on drugs. I don't believe he does these things. Narcan can save their life, but if you're not letting other people know, hey, my son, my daughter, my cousin, he's addicted to whatever it is, and they're hanging out with cousins and something happens, they overdose, nobody knows what's going on. So again, it's that shame, like don't talk about it, nobody knows about it, and something happens. If friends, family, cousins know that this person is addicted to whatever narcotic, something happens, they'll know to call 911 and get somebody there to administer the Narcan. But if something happens and you deny that there's a problem, no one's going to know what's going on with their loved one, right? So enough of this, my son, my daughter, my cousin, they're not addicted to these things. The more we know about what's going on, and this is not for gossip, this is for their safety, that if something happens to my son, take care of him because he's addicted. Call 911 right away. So everybody needs to know that something's going on.
Thank you. We have a question in the back.
First of all, I wanted to thank all of you for coming here today. I greatly appreciate it. I went to 4 years in the University State School, and being there, moving away from home, I witnessed a lot of times where I went to parties, I saw a lot of my friends abusing drugs and alcohol, And I'm thankful enough that I was there to able to support a lot of my friends and get them the help they need for the drugs they were doing. But I saw a repetitive trait of denial and aggression towards those who are abusing alcohol. What do you recommend a plan of action for those who are refusing that they need help and or are in an environment that they're enabled?
That's always the hardest thing that I've had to deal with, because one thing we know is that you can sit there and you can force people to kind of come to whatever truth that they have to see, but unless they internalize it at some point, nothing will happen. Just like what you were describing with your story, like there was a lot of loved ones that were there supporting you, but at some point it flipped, and it became a personal thing. I need to do this. And that's where, we have to be consistent. We have to be supportive and loving. And when I say setting boundaries, I know a lot of times it's like, oh, well, you got to get out of the house. We don't have to set boundaries in a punishing way. There's a loving way to do it. We can sit and talk with them and say, I'm very concerned. This is what I've seen. You mentioned recorded. That's something that sometimes people will do. They'll even record it. And not to sit there and say, look at what you did, it was ridiculous, but to say, look, this is the reality. You're saying that this isn't happening, but this is what I've experienced. Here I'm showing you this. We got other friends involved saying this is what's happening. It's at some point what you're doing is you're trying to get the real life to kind of go against what their experience is, and hopefully that causes enough friction mentally for them that they shift. That's the hope, because the reality about addiction is that it does live in shame, I mentioned, but it also lives in denial. It wants to be alive. So if all I have to do is sit there and say, no, I'm not, or the cop pulled me over because they're out for me or something like that, if I can find some other reason for the consequence outside of my drinking, then my drinking stays alive. And that's what it wants at the end of the day. And so being able to call that out and pull it back to say, this is what we're experiencing, this is what I've seen, and this is why I'm concerned. And that's the big thing, letting them know it's not, hey, I'm worried about this, but I'm frightened for you, I'm concerned, being very genuine. Because that's the thing, you're not going to get through here, you have to get through here. And that doesn't happen by telling them statistics and facts and things like that. You have to let them know the pain that it's causing.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And to answer that question and a previous question earlier about, well, how do you have that conversation with someone? It very well may be the case that even though you've done everything you can, you've gotten the right situation, and you've tried to be as gentle as possible, that they're in denial, they're not going to acknowledge it to you. At that point, it's okay to escalate that and bring it to someone else that's in their life that loves them. Usually it's going to be a family member, whether it's a sibling or whether it's a parent. I'll let you, you make your decision of who it's best to escalate to. But escalate. It's the silence that's enabling. And if you're the only friend who knows, because you're their best friend and everyone else is maybe a little bit more casual, then you have that inside information. You need to share it with other people who can frankly be a little bit more invasive than you can in their life. And the more people in their life that is then coming to them and saying this is a problem and we need to get you help, it's going to help then break the environment that person is in that's allowing them to keep doing what they're doing. So now you might ask, well, aren't I invading their privacy? Isn't that a violation of their rights for privacy? The only medical rights for privacy that you have are with your clinician. So if you're not a professional and you're not a professional who's seeing this person in a formal clinical visit, then there is no right to privacy that's legally required. You're a friend or you're a family member and you're helping them. And you don't need to worry that you're breaking any laws by doing that. And by all means, you're taking one step in the process to get them help. And it's not going to happen overnight, but by mobilizing more people, you're going to make it much more likely that the help finally hits home.
And just one thing I want to say that maybe we all should pay attention to. Whatever I heard from that lady and others, you know, the time that we blame families, just families, for whatever happened to kids is almost over. So not we just, you see a lot of histories of in the same family with the same father and mother. Some kids are becoming very successful. Some kids, they have troubles. So they are the same father and mother. So let's not always, whenever we see a problem, we blame the parents, okay? That's one. Let's be passionate. Those parents are go through the pain. And as you said, it will be very good that parents or family members who have people with dealing with family members who have drug abuse. It's very, very difficult, and it takes a lot of patience and time and energy. So it will be good that where you all, even in the churches or whatever, sit together and talk to each other, and you will learn from each other how to deal. And about your question, how to talk with people who they deny their problem. You know, first of all, as we said, let's always contact with those people, talk with those people as human beings, not as somebody who is from a different planet and we don't want to talk. They are our friends or whatever. So the main thing when we talk is that I think one of the best ways that you can start talking with them is that, because they deny having problems, is that I see you drink more, you drink or you do drugs. Probably you get something good from it. What good things do you see from it? What do you get from it? So they will start talking, and then you see what the pain is, and then when they see that you are listening to them, there is more chance that you say, you know what, I think that when you drink, you are out of control. You did this, you did that, you know, then maybe it will take them somewhere. But let's have in our mind, unfortunately, there is 1/3 of people with drug abuse that whatever we do, whatever family members spend monies for very private rehabs, for doing everything, medications, there are 1/3 that will not get better, okay? But at the very beginning, when we see a person who's addicted, we cannot say which, you know, what will be doing, what kind of, he will be better or he will not get better at all. We should do everything for every single person that we see, that we have in hand. But have in our mind that if at the very end we lose somebody, and as Jeffrey said, becomes statistics, okay? Let's not blame parents, let's not blame others. It is just the nature, and hopefully we will come with better ways to handle this disease like other diseases, and that percentage will go down.
We would like to ask His Grace to say a few closing remarks.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to thank all people here on the panel for their presentation, and that they guide us and help us to understand about the addiction and drugs and the problems that we have. I myself as bishop and with me other clergy priests, we are here to help our people, because our dream is to have a good, clean, pure, healthy society, healthy church, healthy youth. I know there are many different kinds of social problems. It's not just drug, because we have robbery, we have, I don't know, I'm sorry to say, prostitution, we have, so we would like to keep far our young people from our problems. Church is always ready and available to help all kinds of societies, groups, scientists, expertise to work together, because our dream is, as I mentioned, to have here a vibrant, active, powerful community, and God is source of all good and goodness. And because I'm talking, I would like to talk of my own experience. I was smoking cigarette for many years, and I was always praying, God help me to live, because I know it was difficult. But one morning at 6 o'clock when I wake up, and the first thing that came to my mind was to live, to quit. So from 2007, March 17, I left, and I am always, I give thanks to God, because with His help I could. And imagine other drugs, how problem and how big challenges for people. And we are here happy to have Jeffrey with us. Jeffrey, you are always in our prayer, and all other brothers and sisters that they are slave for drugs. They are in our prayer, and always we keep themselves in ours with us when we do mass to give to ask God to help them. So thank you again to all of you. And as I mentioned, the church will be more than happy. Myself, bishops, deacons, staff that we have to help. And I would like just also to invite people, especially parents. Is this a social problem? So should be recovered by society by helping each other. It's not just problem of a family, single family, or a single person. No, it's a social problems, and we as a society we have to help each other. I would like also to ask parents to encourage your children to join us in the church, to join us for the Bible studies, to join us our activities that we have in our churches. And I would like also to say that we purchased the community center in Skokie just to give chance to our youth to be with us and to enjoy the facilities that we have over there. So this is a disease, a social problem. We have to help each other all together for a brilliant future and wonderful kids and youth. Again, thank you very much, and God bless. Let us end with a prayer and give thanks to God. شما بقرب خطوط شرالمين ببركاتك يا ماري بيشي برخري جواتك خلط خمت ماروتك بيش انتير سردانك ماشي يا ماري شينك دايموتا وشلامك بكاملوتا جو طايبك وجو ايتو كل يومات الله مارت كل آوا وورب خطوط شرالمين. And last thanks to Edmund and his team for organizing such a wonderful meeting for awareness, drug awareness. Thank you, God bless.
أسيجان مايكل 8 إنت لخن مرت شاكر أنا نقيت للشتاء إيد شخصيتهم البردة أينوخن وقع خامتة أينوخن سلامة أسيجان مايكل هازاري لإتقابل شل مرانة وعونت إلى رتنا سبيشالست أسيجان مايكل برقلي البانت أسيو تجسوبة شيكاغو ويسكونسن إلى بورد سيرتيفايد وطلاربا ماتشو جي شيكاغو نايلز فيرنن هيلز وودستاك أسيجان مايكل إلى خلمتت من أنصان أطوراية وعون شي مقرو خلمتت ليزر سيرجري وارهادخ رتنا سيرجري جوافيزو. Mid-America Furniture's new location, 7546 North Milwaukee Avenue in Chicago. Mid-America Furniture, special prices for the holidays. Now specials on sofas, sleepers, and Ashley mattresses. New collection on dining tables and bedrooms starting at $6.99. Mid-America Furniture, وينا هيورا عطوراي زودا من إسري 5 شنة. هرعادق زيت signature by Ashley, Millennium, Benchcraft, Sierra Sleep, Coaster, Jackson, Catnapper, Global Furniture, USA Pulaski. Itlu financing available. Line of furniture got 50% 5% off. هذا تيخنا Monday through Saturday from 10 to 6 وSunday من 5 ل5. Ask for Mr. G for an extra 5% off. Mid-America Furniture 773-761-2106. خزيان مخبتي بشقنا خون من خرزة خاتدي اللي بتسايق على خون من سنخرة توني كالاغوراكوس أعود بتوالي تشيك إيميل صار هذا خزيه ولقى خون legal advice تشبتا إن تلخون أخناخون خدشما سنقيات قانون ودن إيميل at tsk@kalolaw.com. هدي بشقنا خون من داها خرزة توني كالاغوراكوس.
خزيان مخبة تبدأ شبتا إلى باس workers' compensation. Workers' compensation deals with injuries during the course of employment. For example, slip and fall, lifting heavy boxes, whether you get hurt on your shoulder or your back, stuff like that. The number one rule with the workers' compensation case is to notify your employer. We are injured during the course of work. There's two ways you could go about doing it, written or orally. Written is via fax or email or an incident report that your employer has. You have to let the job know you are injured. That's the number one thing. If it's very serious, we recommend you get an ambulance, whether it's your employer calling it or yourself, so you can seek the medical attention you need. Now, during the course of your tenure with regards to getting treatment, you're entitled to 2 doctors of your own, or you could attend to the employer's doctor. It's up to you. If you do seek the doctors of your choice, we have to put it in court so we could get the approval from the Workers' Compensation Commission. If your doctor renders you disabled or permanently disabled, we can obtain 66% of your wages while you wait to return to work. Manai 66% while you're getting treated for the injuries you sustained. At the end of the case, we can also get a lump sum. Lump sum deals with the percentage of how much you were injured compared to the amount of how much you make. Now, as always, the ultimate goal is to put you in the same position as you were prior to this ever taking place. Our number one concern is for you to get your health back. If you guys have questions, concerns, or comments regarding workers' compensation, feel free to give me a call. 84 شوا 883 85 Again, 847-982-9516. We have offices in downtown Chicago and the suburbs close to you. Thank you. We all have that one person we call, no matter what the situation or event. Who do you call when you've had a stressful day at work? When you get the news that you're having your first child, or that you landed your dream job? Now, what if you or a loved one have been injured and need advice? Who do you call? Think about it.
امتن آتورتا قبول لشیت اشتال پشام مشتی اجرا ات آتورتا یومدیت شیکاغو و خادروانو بخکمه آودیاته يوم التقامة بتابع يوم شبتة تلاي بيار مارش خاودو تعطيت لها بشكل شوبا جو مدينة شيكاغو جو ويبر سنتر عند إلى جو مدينة سكوكي اتجيطلا معي ويبر بارك عين بتابع طليات باسكتبول من خدمة تيمة أطوراي قبطالي أمودالي قرمت كابت نيسان قدها شيتا قامتا قد أها كاب بتالا الإيتوتا. أنا تيمة قد هلا ديالنا مكتبة بيانا مكتبي للشمة وشركانا أوي جدا طلياته كمسي قارقة أم يقرأ ويلسون يونان المديانة تلفون شوا طلا أتشا 5-4 شوا كمكتبي للشمة شركانا أوي جدا طلياته باسكتبول داخل متخرن طلت باسكتبول تو يوم شبتة تلاي بيار يعني مارش طالت قامتها بسرياسة أسرة قيلمتها قريمون وشركانا أوي تون هل بدنا تبنومتان مغبة كمسي شركانا أوي وبرجي عندنا طليات باسكتبول كل طليات بتاعي خايمة وقرمانة دن طليات باسكتبول بالشركة جو مشتوتة قشقلت كابت نيسان عودة التريب دويا يوم تشبت جانو يو أفلون بانكوت عين خمشتوتا بشكل شوبا مشتوتا جورتا قبلت تفشينة ريشيشيتا خطة اشتال بشوم واشتي اوتشا طلازة معرب تعويلا جداها مشتوتا ومعنا مقبها جانون سافا هل بدنا فاتين شابو رمسن شينو بتاعي زمار داها مشتوتا بمخي الله واتيتون شركيتون كلان مودالي قبل خمشينا شيتا خطة اشتال بشوم واشتي اوتشا بخا خبة وخيادة أودالة بتقب تابي حاضر إينا كمسيتون قانيتولا من تجارن أطوراية قيمة بتقى إلي تلاقي $5 رقم دانا إن أبي بتقى بيشي الطرد مشتوتا بتابي أربي $5 مشتوتا بشكل شوبا يو أفلون بانكوت أينتا إلى خا أمانة أطوراية يوم ديتت أمهرست شويلت أمهرست أينت إلى جو مديتة الجرو فيلج قمطانيات بزودة بد داها مشتوتا كم سيتون قاريتون المليان التلفون شوا طلا وتشا 8 شوا 4 وتشا طلا 3 سيبار يان 8 4 شوا وتشا 4 3 4 5 3 طلا انت راوديات بتاعي يوم شبتا تلاي بيرخا وعودة خارطة بدويا يوم خوشيبة تلاي خا بداها يرخا يرخت إيلول يرخت إلى مارش عودوتا إلى ميزلتا جورتت خبنيسن شيتا خطت أطوراي ميزلتا بشكل شوبا جو مدينة شيكاغو الشويلت كينغ سارغون بولوارد أو كلنتوهم بدايتون إلى ويسترن أفنيو ميزلتا بشاريا صدخا من برشاوتا دوز خاب بشاريا إنا أرمانة إن ميزاليات بتاعتي قمدانا تاما بتاعي مريزم صد خدسر قلمتا إلى أسمبلي خرابة من تجارا شتابياتا أمرانا إيتاتا صوباي شروكنا جداها ميزالتا من صد خدس البارة كمسياتي كتخا قد أشوب الجاني قد قرقزيلي كالي الأرمانة يعني الماركفة فلوت يعني مجواجنا قد إدو قد مريس لقات تاما علي كالي صدخا دوز ميزالتا بالشرية دحكتيتون إلى السيدي قديلا قد ميزالتا بريت دوز صدخا بالشرية لم ساخن سبراخن بزودة دوز على صدخا بالشرية قديلا بطلابك من كل توخن عتيتون الدالا انت إنا شركان يو بريت ين أني إنا برجانة شمسي آتي كل ابن أمتن برجيلا ميزالتا الشويلة وسترن من بيرسون هيل برات ميزالتا بتاز القامي ختمة برقولة وورن بارك قد ريفيو ستام تابو تاما بتابي لان همزمياتي بتابي كل فلود بتاعتي وبتازي من داها ريفيو ستاند وبتابي لان ختمة همزمياتي ومضيات بدني تجارا شوتا برياتا قد شروكنا جداها ميزالتا جورتا بطلابخ من كلن توخن عتيتون شركيتون الدانا قد ميزالتا كلن مويدا مورخلا ميزالتا راب شابرتا اويا وقبل خمشينا شيتا خطا اطورتا اشتال بشو موشتي اوجا هل بدنتا بطلاب وقت مدنتا جارا شو تابوياتا قد هل عادية لنا مكتب الشمي قد شركان ابي جداها ميزالتا كم سيقاري قاتي المليان التلفون شو طلا شو اربطلا أربع سيباتري شوا بخدوتا بايراخن قاتي قد أبينو خسامة جداها ميزلتا جورتات أمتن أطورتا جمديت شيكاغو جارو وقعها ويا خمن رابا من شابيرا خميزلتا شابرتا قد بسبار وخ كل ابن أمتن آتي شركان أبي شركان تا جو ميزلتا جانو يان باراجتد الداها ميزلتا الشويلت وسترن قد بشكل شوبا من بيرسون هال برات وبختمة دخ مدخري الورن بارك إلى قد قربت برات إلى بالتاريخ ديوان من برات إلى ورن بارك تاما بدايق رابط بنوم تم بداينا إيجا إلى آتيتون شركان عبيتون وهل بدنا تابعين رابط مطانيات وإتلان مطانيات بدنا أوديات قبش قانا شوبا الفيسبوك يعني تويتر يعني الانستغرام قد كنت إنا خدشمت Assyrian New Year بطلابا منوخن عزيتون يشقيتون لشقليتون مطانيات بزودة إن أوي لوخن خبو قارا ينبياتون شركان أويتون يدن أوديات قد متخلالي قاتوخن قريمون المديان التلفون شوا طلا شوا أربطلا أربسي باتري شوا خاجة خيتا باروخ وخشيتا خطت أطوراي اتلخيوي شيتت بتايلا ويا خشيتا منتينتا قامتان أطورتا دلنايت قبل أمتان لخجم ديت شيكاغو وكل تيول شيتو خنو يا برختا
آخر مخبر شلام الله خويتوتيه. Thank you very much Tirochen Katsandech Kabratet Umtan Atour Toma Sargon who slated the lines for Lincoln Wood, Jazel Patel who Craig Klatsko. I would have seen with the Jumroch Minnan, Khatma Khabrana Amrunugu English, Ukhatma Amrunugu Surat. Thank you all for joining us here today for this great meet and greet for the Alliance for Lincoln Wood candidates Atour Toma Sargon, Jazel Patel, and Craig Klatsko. Also joining us will be candidates from various different slates running for positions in which Assyrian Americans represent a large portion of those areas. We're going to get started very shortly. If I could have everybody please take a seat. It's going to be a relatively short program. The most important work is yet to be done. This is just a starting point. Early voting it starts exactly 2 weeks from tomorrow. It's a centralized location. It's at the Village Hall of Skokie. Nobody in Lincolnwood could possibly live further than a 12-minute ride away. You got 2 weeks to get it done, Monday through Friday. They're open 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, they're open 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And Sunday, they're open 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. All that information is going to be mailed out to you if you haven't already seen it on your seats. Please pick it up and take a look. I really quickly want to tell you a little bit about myself and Vote Assyrian. My name is Ramsey Benjamin. As most of you already know, I am one of the co-founders of Vote Assyrian. We are dedicated to registering Assyrian Americans to vote, engaging them in their civic duties, and educating them on the political process of this great country of ours. Now, Vote Assyrian has proudly endorsed Atour Toma Sargon, Jazel Patel, and Craig Klatsko for our choice of very important.
Thank you, Ramsin, and thank you, Vote Assyrian. If I can just get a round of applause for Vote Assyrian, all the volunteers that are helping with this campaign. Thank you guys, you couldn't do it without me. I'd like to just have a few quick words, a few formalities, but I want to thank Mr. Shiva Mender, the president of the ANCI, for giving us this opportunity to host our event here at the ANCI building in Skokie. I also want to thank Assyrians around the world and Joe Rasho and the Assyrian Media Center for being here today. I also, if it's okay, just want to introduce a few candidates who are here today. If they can stand up, and then we'll have them say a few words at the end. But we have Community 219, which is a slate running for the school district for 219. Ms. Rebecca Abraham, Mr. David Coe, Jim Henry, and James Spetner. Also for District 219, we have Ms. Nashra Mohammed running as an independent. Nashra. And Manal Desai is running for Skokie Park District. Manal. So thank you all for being here. This is really the first step for everyone here in our community to participate in this big election in Lincolnwood. My name is Atour Toma Sargon. First and foremost, sorry, Bachalta, Shlama Lochan, Beneno Mzi. Okay, Shannon Kuletia. Hamzuman English was it an Archab Nachraya, so and Lahoya Zamat Hamzuman be English. Thank you again to everyone for attending. My name is Atour Toma Sargon, and I'm a candidate for trustee with the Alliance for Lincolnwood with Mr. Jazel Patel and Mr. Craig Klatsko. I'm very honored to be standing here before you all today. A little bit about myself and how I got here today. As you all know, my parents are Shimshon and Leila Toma. They've been active members of the Assyrian community my entire life. So they led by example, and I followed in their footsteps. And public service has always been very important to our family and in our lives. And so it's an honor for me to follow in their footsteps. I have a bachelor's degree in political science at the University of Illinois and a master's degree from Northwestern where I studied public policy. There at Northwestern, really my specialty was in policy implementation, budget, and infrastructure planning, and so that's kind of where I came to the village of Lincolnwood. It was an interesting day. About a couple of years ago, I ran into Mr. Jazel Patel at an event, and I had a question for him. I said, Mr. Patel, Trustee Patel, how can I find answers to X, Y, and Z? And he said, Atour, no problem, give me your information. The very next day he got back to me, and I knew that this was someone that I'd be honored to work with in the future. He cares about getting answers to our community, and I think that's very important for our community members to be able to access their leaders and say, I have a question about my property taxes. I have a question about my water bill. Please give me an answer. Mr. Craig Klasko has been a staple in Lincolnwood for a very long time. Believe it or not, my youngest sister Ashdod worked for him at the Bunny Hutch in Lincolnwood, which everyone who's from Lincolnwood knows the Bunny Hutch. So again, we have ties to one another, but ultimately we share a lot of the same goals. Some of the guiding principles for our campaign are service, accountability, and integrity. And I think those words speak for themselves. Given the opportunity, I would really be honored to serve the Lincolnwood community. And I want to thank everyone who's been involved, Vote Assyrian, the Alliance for Lincolnwood, all of our volunteers. I'd be happy to serve all of you. Again, my name is Atour Toma Sargon. I want to keep it short and sweet. I want to introduce Jason to say a few words about himself. I'll do the same for Craig. I just want to add 2 points. Sorry, Jason and Craig. I do serve on the Vote Assyrian board, and I think that's very important what they're doing, what they do every day to get our community civically engaged and teach them about the importance of voting. People ask all the time, why is it important to vote? Well, locally, especially where you have people representing your school districts, you know, making decisions on budget, on spending, on infrastructure. These are very important decisions, and we need people that we can rely on and access, and I think that's important. And I think the 3 of us come from a diverse background, and we represent all of Lincolnwood. I'd also like to say that I am a member of the Illinois Women's Institute for Leadership, which has been an honor for me to serve as part of the organization. And I can go on and on. I'm on the PTA executive board in Lincolnwood. The school district is very important to me. And with that, I think I'll keep it short. I think I said that 10 times already, sorry guys. But Jason, if you'd like to